Shut up and sit down.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 3POA podcast, episode 5, talking about the Book of Boba Fett tonight and our 5 favorite collection editions of 2021. How are you guys doing? What's up, Tony?
I'm doing great. It's the 2nd of January here, so I want to wish everyone a very happy new year. Best wishes for the future. I hope 2022 sees you rolling in fortune and good health, especially Valaverse.
Dude, you're in the future. Like, you're actually in the future.
I know.
What's it like?
You learn this technique in the Special Forces.
How about you, Bobby? What's going on, man? Busy week?
It's busy week, man. Busy week. It's been a busy couple months. At least a damn busy month, that's for sure. No rest for the weary, man. We got all of Series 1 out the door, and now everything went back up for pre-order, and Series 1 went back up for sale. So it's like Monday morning, I'm going to be back here fulfilling orders again. So I took a couple of days to get on top of some work that I'd been pushing off, working on some new figure designs, possibly someone new coming to Action Force. But yeah, it's been good, man. I'm looking forward to the new year and everything else that's coming.
Well, I'm just glad your internet connection is good. Kind of a thing this week, huh?
I literally check it like 100 times every time we get on a podcast. That's why, like, when we're in the green room, I'm like, is my connection good? Am I good? Am I blurry? Yeah,
you guys had a little bit of hiccups on day 1 of the sale, but by day 2, it was like smooth sailing. It was good to go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was kind of one of those things where I was talking to my web guy, and I said, listen, all the updates went really smooth just because we had to. It wasn't like your normal like e-commerce store. I had Series 1, 2A, 2B. You couldn't order them together. There was a lot of like tricky things to work out, and I said all that kind of went really smooth. I said, something's going to happen. The website's going to crash or something like that. I kind of felt it. Like, I felt something brewing, and it got bombarded, and it was handling the traffic fine. And then based on what, my hosting tech was telling me, he was like, the traffic was fine, handling it fine. Cause it handled it fine afterwards. He was like, you got hit with like a rush of bots that just like ate away at like the connection, the server, and we had to kind of go through and clean all those out and put in some plugins in place to deter those. So we did, and luckily it was only a small hiccup. And then, listen, man, I check my phone constantly, and orders have not stopped. Like, even like when I wake up the next morning, there are hundreds of orders like that just come in overnight. And it's like, I'm not doing international shipping. So these are people just in the US that are just buying overnight, which is wild. So you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for supporting the brand. I'm glad that like everyone's excited for it, and to see it all being so successful is, man, it's a kind of a dream come true. It makes all the all the hard work like worth it. You know, it's kind of paid off. And man, I'm so psyched to get Series 2 here. It's gonna be awesome, especially with how quickly it's gonna get here. Like that's the cool part.
Nice. Yeah, exciting.
I'm just
times,
wondering
man.
how many people on New Year's Eve were making drunk purchases, and they're sitting there on New Year's Day trying to explain to the wife why they've just dumped $300 on more Action Wars figures.
Well, we'll see. I have to check. I'm a little behind on checking the emails, you know, family time and New Year's Eve and stuff like that. But I'll have to see if anyone sent messages like, "Oh, I made that purchase while I was drunk. Can I actually order more?"
Need 3, 4, 5 more stormtroopers.
Listen, man, I've done my fair share of drunk purchases, so I know all about that.
Yeah.
You regret them
Speaking of which,
until the order actually gets to you, and then you're like, "Oh, I actually don't regret that anymore."
Yeah.
I placed my order for 2A, and now I saw your post on Instagram of rollout, and I was like, "Damn, I need 2 of those." So do I just place another order and have you add it to it?
Just email orders at valaverse.com, Tony.
Yeah. Guys, hold on, because before you get upset that Tony's in Australia and he placed an order, I'm holding his order and giving it to him at Joe Fest. So just relax. I don't want now that once you said, "Hey, I placed an order," people are gonna be like, "Wait, I thought you couldn't purchase internationally." No, I'm hand delivering his personally when he comes for Joe Fest. So don't worry.
Well, we have a super chat for. Go ahead.
I was just gonna, if I don't want to wait, I can get you to post it to Ryan, and then get Ryan to post it to me, and I'll cover all of that issue myself.
Yeah, laserpants.com is my international shipping source.
We were attacked by bots. Sorry, we're down. We're shut down for business. But we got a super chat from mvargo97. Thank you very much. He says, "Happy New Year's, gang. Here's to more great content all around in 2022."
Thank you very much.
Content, probably just good. Yeah, thank you, mvargo.
I wanted to pull up Retro Lasting's comment as well. Just Tony bragging about being a time traveler again. Eye roll. Love you, Michael.
So, Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Star Wars is back after a long hiatus, about a year off since season 2 of Mando, which ended on a really high note for me. I know that Luke Skywalker scene wasn't for everyone. And I was expecting...
Mannequin Skywalker.
Yeah. PS4 Luke. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
But Book of Boba Fett came back, and it was like vanilla ice cream. I liked it, right? It wasn't like a chocolate sundae or a banana split, but it was okay. But it picked up kind of right where we left off in Return of the Jedi. That flashback scene. Actually, no, it picked up. That was the flashback. It picked up with him in the palace.
Yeah.
Jabba's palace on the throne.
Yep.
And he was taking tributes from his underlings, I guess, or people paying their respects to the new crime lord. I loved that Trandoshan that brought the Wookiee pelt. That's a huge callback to the EU, because the Trandoshans, the Bosk aliens, were kind of rivals with the Wookiees. And so to see that little callback to the EU, that was really cool. Oh, and by the way, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen it. I forgot to say that at the beginning. We are going to spoil the hell out of Book of Boba Fett tonight.
That Bosk was played by Robert Rodriguez, the director of that episode.
Oh, no kidding.
Really?
Yeah.
So that Trandoshan face, I couldn't tell if it was puppetry or CGI.
They've been using a lot of puppetry, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a traditional costume.
Yeah. They had
very rarely do they use CGI for something that a human can't fit inside of.
Yeah. I think that was kind of like the mandate when Disney took over. They wanted to go back to practical effects.
Yeah.
Too bad they didn't go back to good storytelling, but
we're getting there. We're getting there.
I also got like a lot of Egyptian vibes. I feel like they were heavily inspired by ancient Egyptian themes in this. I don't know if you guys caught that.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see that now you say it, but it didn't occur to me at the time. I've watched it twice. I wouldn't have done that if we weren't doing this podcast. I would have just watched it the once. But look, I think the show does have potential to go somewhere. The first episode was very problematic for me. Mm-hmm. Very problematic. One of the things that made the original Star Wars so good to me when I was a kid, the first film, is Obi-Wan talking about the Clone Wars and the Knights, and there was all this mysterious backstory. Those little anecdotes that he shared were way better than the 3 films we ended up getting. And the weird thing is, on Disney Plus, when they launched this first episode, they also launched a kind of like a mini documentary about Boba Fett, going all the way back to his original white prototype armor. They were supposed to be like super stormtroopers, and they're talking in there, and all the different people they're interviewing, they're like, you know, the great thing about Boba Fett is he's mysterious and you don't know a lot about him. And then they come out with this, and it's like, you gave us way, way too much. I knew they were going to tell us how we got out of the Sarlacc pit. I thought that was going to come in a later episode, not in the very first one. But then that story just dragged on. And I don't think it was a great story. I preferred the scenes, where Teomora Morrison is with Fennec Shand. I much preferred those parts of the episode than all of the flashback stuff.
I actually really lean towards the flashback stuff. The whole, he's stripped of his armor. He's taken prisoner by the Tusken Raiders. I thought that was pretty cool. He's being dragged behind. Now, what were they enslaving him for? To dig up those little seeds for water?
I was wondering that too. They were just like keeping him prisoner for what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the same thing with Anakin's mother. And I always wondered, why did they take her prisoner? What's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard to dig up some water pods, whatever those things were. Maybe they were crate jargon droppings. Something. I don't know. But I did like seeing more of the Tusken Raider like culture. Them in their tents. They're almost like nomadic in this series, and in the prequels they had like structured huts. Right? In this one they just had tents that looked like pyramids, by the way. More callback to
they look like Arabic Bedouin, which, you know, come across loads of them in the when Desert Rat was in the deserts of Iraq. Oh, you see how that rhymed? Desert Rat in the deserts of Iraq. I love it. They're very much like the Bedouin culture. You know, these people who live out in the deserts in tents.
Let's get to a few super chats, and then we're going to get into our top 5. We're going to kind of sprinkle in our top 5 pickups of 2021 throughout discussing the Book of Boba Fett. So James Salzberg, thank you very much. He says, hand delivery at Joe Fest is an employee perk. Hand delivery.
I wish I was an employee.
Thank you, James. Wesley Hendricks, thank you very much. He says, Bobby, any chance of fitting a SPAS 12 shotgun with folding stock and a Marlin Model 1895 SBL in the next weapons pack? I'd like to fit my Jurassic Park Amber figures with guns.
So I've had a lot of people ask me for that shotgun, which is such an iconic shotgun, you know, and I love Robert Muldoon from the original. The thing is, that's a very dated shotgun. It's not really a common shotgun nowadays. Like you go into a gun store nowadays, they have, much better automatic shotguns these days. I think it's either called a Typhoon or a Hurricane. It's very much like an AR style semi-auto shotgun, which is on my list to get. But you know, it is a bit dated, but it is iconic, and I do want to make sure that this line has guns that people want. But I'd like to keep it on the modern side. Although I do have a Thompson that we just tooled up just because it's my one of my favorite rifles. It's a very period piece. There is an AA-12 shotgun coming, as ugly as that shotgun is, but that's coming. There's a Marlin Dark coming.
You see, the thing with the Thompson, though, Bobby, like, I want to put that with Kerak, because that, even though it's all modern,
yep,
that would totally be. It would fit.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's not going to be any shortage of guns coming. I got Mark from Mark II Designs working on a ton of new guns right now. So guns are something people can never have enough of, and I've got an idea for a big end of the year arsenal tin that's coming. That will have a bunch of new guns and things like that. So
3 POA exclusive right there. 3 POA.
I'll put them on the list. It's kind of one of those things that the timing is right. If I'm like, okay, well, I need a gun. There's a lot on my list personally that I want to get in the line, but it's an iconic shotgun.
Cool.
Clever.
Thank you, Wesley. We got one from Toy Connections. Thank you very much. He says, transit fee for when Ryan visits me in Vancouver. What's up, man? He says, though this will only get you as far as the border, you'll need to hitchhike the rest of the way. That might get me to the end of my block nowadays. But thank you very much. And I hope I am able to make it up there for the Vancouver Comic and Toy Show in February. Awesome toy show, man.
Yeah.
It's great up there. Timothy Hans, thank you very much. He says, congratulations, Bobby, on the rollout of the figures. Everyone overall is happy. I can't wait to get mine. But I love all the pictures people are posting.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been super exciting. And, I try to take moments to stop and enjoy it, as busy as I am. And, I was cleaning up the warehouse the other day and, inventorying product. And I stopped to think like how cool it is that, for so long, I was the only one playing with these samples and figures. And now it's cool that you guys actually have them and are loving them. Like, that's really, really exciting for me.
It's kind of hard to see it on camera, but I got my display right up there on top of the details with my old school Action Force posters from the first Kickstarter era, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, Timothy. And then, wow, Sal, you shouldn't have.
Jesus.
Thank you very much.
My man.
Very, very generous, as always. Thank you, Sal. He says, I really needed this show. Thank you, gentlemen. Bobby, I'll see you Monday morning. Love you all.
Looking forward to it, bud.
Is that when the shipping begins for the rest of Series 1?
Yeah. I'm gonna come in Monday and start processing orders. I got to print out. I don't think orders are gonna go out on Monday. Probably Tuesday, but we're gonna start. I got to print out, thousands of pick lists and, start getting stuff pulled. But we should probably box up some stuff. We'll see. But definitely Tuesday and then through the rest of the week.
Cool. Right on. Thank you, Sal. Very generous. And I think, we got Matt Cropsey. Thank you very much. He says, Happy New Year's, Ryan, Tony, and Bobby. Hope they bring back Hammerhead in the Book of Boba Fett. I totally agree. I want more original trilogy era aliens. And we actually got a lot of that.
We got 8D8, which I would have rather EV99, but it is still cool that they brought in 8D8.
But 8D8 was the one torturing the Gonk droid.
But like,
so
go ahead.
He was all about the torture. He was like, no, we got to torture him, boss. Like, we have to rule by torture. I was like, that's awesome.
See, like, EV99 was a much cooler one. He had a cooler voice, and he was snarky. I feel like he would have been the one still there. But at the same time, I think the confusing part is who died on the sail barge and who did it, who didn't. Yeah. Like, Droopy McCool was on the sail barge in Return of the Jedi. How did that chubby bastard get off the sail barge before it blew up? Because
no, that was Max Rebo, the blue
Max Rebo. That's what I meant. Max Rebo, but Max Rebo was in Mos Espa.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, where'd you come from? And I know people said that they did a backstory on how Bib Fortuna got there, but yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, didn't you die? Didn't you get blown up? So
yeah, it was him, and I'd like to think that was Figure and Dan that he was jamming with. from the Cantina. You know, it's like the Tatooine super group.
Yeah. Because I was like, where's Cy Snoodles? And where's Droopy McCool? Where are the other two?
Maybe they didn't get off the sail barge.
Maybe they didn't get off. Maybe he's like, maybe Max Rebo's like fire retardant. So like, he just blew up and like landed in the sand, and he's like, "Guess I'm walking."
Yeah, and then
what's he? Is he like Condor with a spare head? His fire retardant hood.
Timothy Hans, thank you very much. He says Tony says Action Force makes the rest of your action figures look like pussycats.
Come on, Timothy. You know that's not what I said. I said Action Force makes your other figures look like pussies. For the biggest balls in the business, collect your Action Force today.
I don't think YouTube would have let him just put that in the
maybe. Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, Timothy.
Thank you, Timothy. Seriously, I was at work watching that video when it first dropped, and I was like almost in tears. And my coworkers are looking at me like, "What is this guy? What's going on?" That was great. And Brian Dillingham, thank you very much. He says Jennifer Beals as a Twi'lek is awesome. Yeah, she is. How old did you say she was, Tony? She's like in her late 50s?
55.
I don't know how old she is, but she was in, what was it again? Flashdance?
Flashdance.
Like, that's an early 80s film, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that woman has aged well. Beautiful woman.
She was born in 1963, so she's almost 60. And she looks like she's in her 30s.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, wow.
I was born in 1999, and look at me.
Okay. I think we are all caught up on Super Chats. So, let's take a little pause from Book of Boba Fett. And let's get into our number 5 favorite pickup of 2021. Now, we're not doing favorite figures or favorite toys released in 2021. We're just doing our favorite additions to our collection in the past year, 2021. So I'm sure there's going to be some vintage, stuff from years ago. But Tony, let's start with you, man. What's your number 5?
Well, mine is almost all vintage. My top 5. So my number 5 is my carded Desert Rat action figure from the original vintage Palatoy line. This is what other collectors tell. I didn't know this. Other collectors are telling me that they only believe there's about 6 carded examples left in existence.
Wow.
So this was a very expensive purchase, which is why it's not higher on the list, because this cost me a crap ton of money. Like, why Bobby couldn't have just made me into one of those Space Force troopers that you can get for $20. But when I kind of first learned that I was going to become Desert Rat, I immediately went out wanting to get a carded one, and I start hearing from people that they don't show up, man. There's like only 6 of them in the world, and they're all squirreled away in collections. You got to have a lot of luck to find this. And then within 2 months, someone posted it on a Facebook group, and I was like, I don't care how much it costs.
It's so pretty. So pretty.
Yeah, well, and see, the thing is, the guy was asking £620 sterling, and I ended up paying $53,000 because Grace caught me at work. She came into my office because we work at the same place, right? She came into my office, popped in the office to see me, and I had Facebook up, and I'm chatting to this guy trying to do the deal, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm on Facebook buying an action figure." And she's like, "And it's how much? And you're doing this at work?" And I was like, "I can't miss out on this. It's how much?" And I was like, I just happened to have another tab open on my computer where I was looking at a new car. So I quickly opened up that tab and I went, "Oh yeah, but honey, I'm going to buy you a new car."
Oh,
Total distraction method. And I ended up following through and buying both. No. So there's my $53,000 action figure.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Right on. Yeah, that's kind of like the Vinyl Cape Jawa of Action Force, huh?
The Australian Jungle Fighter is the other one. So if Bobby wants to be really mean, he can do Desert Rat version 2 and take it from when I was in the Australian army and make him a jungle fighter with the slouch hat. And then, they're even rarer carded jungle fighters.
What's what did you say it was? 600 pounds sterling? What is that to US dollars?
800-900.
Yeah.
Got it.
Something like that. Bobby, how about you, man?
Let's see. What do I want my number 5 to be? I'm gonna pick this guy because I'm gonna surprise everyone with one later. So this is the Diamond Select Sauron from the Lord of the Rings line, which just came out this past year, end of the year before. Now, the line, listen, you guys all know I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, huge. And I was so excited for a new Lord of the Rings line because the old Toy Biz line was amazing at the time. They did really, really great stuff with that line. They went so deep with it, and I got all of them at the time. But they're dated. And I wanted to see a new update to the Lord of the Rings figure at this scale. So, when I saw they were coming out, I'm like, all right, Diamond Select. All right, well, they do pretty good stuff. And, some of the prototype shots looked all right. And then I ordered all the figures. They came, and they're absolute dog shit, man. I couldn't be more disappointed with the line. Like Legolas has knife sheaths on his quiver, and he doesn't have his elven knives. Aragorn's face looks terrible. They didn't do the digital printing. So it was like they missed an opportunity, and I don't think we're ever going to see Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings in an action force, or in an action figure scale, after this. Like, this was kind of the last chance, which really sucks. However, the figures...
Unless you pick up the license.
I don't know. It's an expensive... It's expensive. All the figures are new tooling. It's really expensive. Toy Biz did it right. It's just, you got to appreciate the Toy Biz stuff, even though they're dated. But the whole first series came with Build-A-Figure parts to make a Sauron. Now, the Toy Biz Sauron was really, really great. However, he was a little small, and this is the Build-A-Figure Sauron from the Diamond Select series. And he is amazing. Like, seeing the rest of the line, you're like, but then seeing him together, he looks so good. So I'm really, really happy with this figure. He was one of the highlights for me this year, and he's on he's next to me at my desk, just because he's such a cool figure and so well done, that he has to be there. So that's my number 5.
That thing looks awesome.
He's really great.
You're making
his articulation's great. His paint's great. His soft goods cape is great. They nailed the detail on him. Like I said, the Toy Biz one's good, but he falls short just a little bit, whereas this one is perfect.
All right, well, let's get to my number 5. But first, I have a runner-up. And I had to mention this because it's been so useful. I love having this in my collection. It wasn't an expensive piece. It was like $9 on Amazon, Prime shipping. But my runner-up for favorite addition to my collection is my heat gun. It's been so useful lately. I picked this up early in the year. I love this thing. It's an invaluable tool in my collection. So, I'm sorry, Bobby. I had to, man.
You can call him a bitch, Bobby.
He's going to punch me in the face at Joe Fest now.
Listen,
I'm going to make a quick confession here.
It's not just my figures, right?
No, I've used this on probably every line I collect outside of like Mafix and SH figures.
I wouldn't wave that around too much, Ryan, because it actually doesn't look like a heat gun from here.
It is. I promise. That's where the heat comes out.
I've got to make a real quick confession. That just reminded me of my. You remember that first time I was on Infinity Equation and I tried to sum up Action Force in one word?
Yes.
Delayed. I wasn't going to say it. I still have nightmares that Bobby actually never speak to me again since I did that.
I mean, if you can't
it
bust
tears
your
me up
friend's
inside.
balls-
I feel terrible about it.
If you
It
can't
was
bust your
all
friend-
in the purposes of entertainment.
Yeah. If you can't bust your friend's balls, are you really friends?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure I've made my fair share of jokes about it
yeah.
being delayed. You know.
Yeah. So my number 5, it's actually the only vintage toy on my list. Why is Ryan holding it? I'm a big Jack Murphy fan. It's the only vintage toy on my list and one of the only vintage toys in my collection. It was sent to me by a very good friend from Down Under. Did that sound right?
Yep.
It is my Coleco Rambo the Forces of Freedom Defender vehicle. Freaking love this thing. And it scales perfectly with Action Force.
Nice.
Loads of people have been asking me in the YouTube comments on my Action Force video about where did the watchtower and the ammo crates and all that come from. I was like, it all comes from the play set from the Coleco Rambo line, the Savage Strike headquarters. Scales perfectly, man. And for a line from 1986, that shit was well made.
Yep.
It looks so good.
Yeah, no, this thing is rock solid. It's awesome. It has, look at that. It's got suspension, man. I freaking love this thing.
If you want action figures with the biggest balls in the business, collect Coleco's Rambo.
We got a super chat from Raiden. Thank you very much. He says, I slept during Kickstarter like a moron. Valaverse.com Wave 1 in-stock sale saved my behind. I haven't been this excited over a line in years. Great podcast, guys. P.S. I absolutely pre-ordered Tony. Oh, right on, man.
Thanks, man. Did you pre-order me for a birthday party, or it's...
Is that the Tony that pops out of a cake?
Look, all I'm saying is, guys, if you walk into Joe Fest 2022 and you see Bobby wheeling in a massive cake, I would look away because you might not know what. If I come out of that, like, what was that girl's name from Baywatch in Under Siege?
Pamela.
No, it wasn't Pamela Anderson. It was Erica. You know, in Under Siege, where she jumps out of the cake and.
Don't remember.
Under Siege, the Steven Seagal movie. It's not Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, I've seen that movie like once.
Yeah, I saw it once years ago and forgot about it.
I don't remember.
Erica Elinak. Yeah, that's it.
Oh
no, I've watched that movie probably 50 times, but I only watched that scene.
Okay.
She jumps out of a cake topless, bro, and I was like at the ripe age when that movie came out.
I mean, the Pam Tommy video is way better. Like, why would you waste your time on the Under Siege cake?
I didn't have access to the Pam Tommy video when I was 13. I could either watch that scene from Under Siege.
That was one of my greatest purchases when I was a freshman in high school. Was the Pam and Tommy video? That thing was awesome. That was the best $10 I ever spent.
The only way I could access
that was recorded for the 100 millionth time. Green.
The only way I could access porn at that age, Bobby, was to steal that video cassette that my older brother had under his bed. But it was called Teenage Confessions of a Peanut Butter Freak. And it was about a nephew and his aunt Opal. And it is not pleasant.
The show just took a turn. It just took a turn.
Oh.
It's a story.
Okay.
Keith Knight saying he's talking about the Steven Seagal Under Siege, saying Erica Elinak wasn't the biggest tit in that movie.
Steven Seagal.
Oh.
Okay. What were we?
Ryan's all flustered now.
Book of Boba Fett. Oh, that was great. Okay.
FYI, that's why I don't like peanut butter.
How dare you?
Scarred for life, bro. Scarred for life.
Oh, my God.
Get yourself together, Ryan.
All right. I'm sorry. That's really funny. Book
of Boba Fett.
Huh?
Yeah, the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to bring something up. When he goes in and sees that hot 60-year-old woman, he walks in there, helmet comes off, and I'm like, oh, they're doing this. The helmet off thing. I hope they don't do too much of that.
She
But then they
brings
come
the
out.
peanut butter, and then it just goes to.
Yeah. But then they come outside, and his helmet's full of, I don't know what they are, Republic credits, Imperial, whatever the hell, coins, right?
Yeah, they had the Republic logo on it.
Yeah, and then they get jumped by the Foot Clan, who have stolen all of the Action Force Swarm figure shields, right? And they're surrounded by the Foot Clan, and this really, really slow fight style. Like I was watching that going, this is slow, poorly edited, and it's Robert Rodriguez who made one of the best episodes of The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where Grogu's up on the hill and the stormtroopers got mortars and Fennec Shan's doing all their sniper stuff and everything. But they're having this fight. And Boba's getting his ass kicked. Am I the only person who sat there the entire time going, dude, you've got a fucking jetpack.
Yes.
Just fly out of the middle.
Yeah.
Yes. That fight scene was incredibly lame. It was so slow and like you said, the edit, the way it was cut together, it was like, why would the Foot Clan, as you call them, take turns taking swings at him? And they would wait for him to look at them. Like one guy would stab at him with their electric staff and he'd block it. And then he'd look at another guy and he'd take a stab at him and then he'd block it. I'm like, it was very amateur.
Yeah.
And when I watched it a second time, because I was looking for this, so like he the two Gamorrean guards that he gives them a reprieve. They obviously come in to help him out, right? When you watch it the second time, you see the four of them walk out of that bar or pleasure palace or Pants Palace, whatever it is, laser dungeon. You see the four of them walk out, right? The Gamorrean guards walk out with them. And then I think they cut to a close-up and then cut back to them walking down the street, talking about, I intend to rule with respect and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it the second time and I'm like, where the fuck have those Gamorrean guards gone?
They went to the pub.
Yeah.
They just walked out of the pub.
Or they were getting sprayed down. She's like, do you want us to wash your Gamorrean guards?
No. But when they first walk out, the first shot you see, they walk out with them. Right? They kind of walk out either side of the door, cuts to a close-up, and then cuts back and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like that it doesn't go very well on repeat viewing.
I'm going to have to watch it again and see that.
He didn't use his jetpack. In 5 minutes before that scene, we saw him use his flamethrower to bust out of the Sarlacc. Right? I'm like, flamethrower, use it.
That too. I mean, we know everything works because in Mandalorian, everything worked. Yeah. And he uses his Crayola paint job in Mandalorian. Right. And then, so it's like you start this episode and you're like, wait, don't you remember every stuff? Now, I'm gonna kind of give my 2 cents on it for a minute. And I don't want it to sound like I'm just ripping on it. I very much enjoyed the episode. I love that we have Boba Fett back again. But I think they are now. Granted, you're going to say, "Dude, it was a character that had 6 lines and like 3 minutes of screen time in the whole trilogy." But I think they're getting away from what we love about Boba Fett. It's like this is the guy that Vader said no disintegrations to. The guy had a reputation and he was a badass dude. And I just feel like, granted, his time with the Tuskens probably changed him. I just feel like we don't need another Mandalorian hero. We got that with the Mandalorian. I would almost rather see him still be kind of like a ruthless bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
The whole rule with respect, it's like, okay, but again, if we have you as a hero, it's just another Mandalorian. Like, I would rather seen it from a different point of view. And it's like, he's just not the same character that I think we loved. The mysteriousness of Boba Fett. And to Tony's point, it's like, it's going to be like Iron Man. We're going to see him with the mask off all the time.
Yeah.
And I would very much rather see him with the mask on. And I also was one of those people that didn't like that they put Tamar Morrison's voice in Empire Strikes Back. I didn't like that at all. I don't like you messing with the original stuff. I know they're all clones and they're all clones of him, but I just didn't like that. Like, you totally changed him up. And I don't know. It's also like, I made the joke about, Fat Boba Fett and Mandalorian. Like, yeah, he wasn't like, Boba Fett was always kind of this slim, lean kind of ninja. And now it's like, he's kind of like, seeing the flashback scenes of him with the Tuskens and he's only in the jumpsuit. He almost has like that dad bod where his legs are really skinny and his upper half is kind of thick. So he just looks weird, and it's like, there's just something about it that's not Boba Fett for me. I'm still enjoying it. It's still Star Wars. It still has the Star Wars feel, but it's not 100% Boba Fett. To me, it's like there's Boba Fett and then there's this, and I'm treating them kind of differently.
Yeah, I would have almost, I absolutely would prefer, the ruthless bounty hunter. He's a criminal. He's a crime lord, but with a sense of honor, not necessarily heroic.
Yeah.
And they really went out of their way to show that he's like a good guy. Remember with the Tusken's lizard dog, he hurts it and then he's trying to help it. And,
yeah. Whereas like old Boba Fett, like the Boba Fett we kind of thought he would have just taken that thing and snapped its neck. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Just to your comments, Bobby, about the skinny legs and the dad bod. That's where Gracie says you went wrong with the Desert Rat figure.
I mean, Tamara Morrison, he's a thick dude, but he's built. He's not just like an overweight pudgy guy. He's built. No, but Jeremy Bulloch,
he's a Maori.
Yes,
he's a New Zealand Maori. Those dudes are big guys. They're like Samoans.
Yeah.
Tongans and Fijians, they are big dudes.
And Jeremy Bulloch was a very slender dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he was almost like Anthony Daniels in that way. Like Anthony Daniels can still fit in that metal suit to this day. Very slender guy. So
he should stay in that suit.
Huh?
He should stay in that suit.
but I mean, that's another thing. He kept taking his helmet off, and that's fine. Yeah, Boba Fett's going to look just like Jango and the clones. Cool. But like you said, part of it, one of the coolest things about Boba was that mystery. I want him to keep the helmet on.
And that's a good part about the Mandalorian. It's like they have that lore about, not taking off your helmet. So it's great that they hired Pedro Pascal, who's this great actor and who's a very popular actor. But 90% of the time, it's not him in the costume, which is, I like that. I like that they keep his helmet on. He takes it off once, twice a season. Whereas Boba Fett, it's like, we've seen him more with the helmet off than we have with it on.
Yeah, it's really off-putting. And they could have done it like the Mandalorian. They could have had him in the helmet the whole time. And then for close-ups, once in a while, twice a season, taking the helmet off, and there's Tamara Morrison's face.
Yeah.
But... how about the rooftop parkour in Mos Espa? That took me out of it. Like that to me, that was like more off-putting than the janky fight scene. Like there's something about stuff being too real world, like Earth, that will take me out of Star Wars. You know what I mean? And like that parkour, I just envisioned guys, doing parkour in rooftops in New York or whatever.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
That's why I called them the Foot Clan.
Yeah, exactly. It just didn't feel really Star Wars. And I know I sound like I'm crapping all over this episode. For the most part, I enjoyed it. Like I said, vanilla ice cream.
I also felt like the guy that played the mayor's Dobo. I felt
Major
like
Domo?
The Major Domo. I felt like he was really removed from feeling Star Wars. Like everything feels very Star Wars, even like the costumes and the traditional costumes like the Bossk race creature. But like he showed up and he seemed very out of place. I think his acting, and it's like you gave him like the tendrils off, but he had just a very human face, which I get. But it's like at least like give him like a bigger brow, like do something. He just, I don't know. His character took me out of it a little bit. Like that whole scene, I was like, ooh. Okay.
Well, you remember Bib Fortuna, his face, it was like monstrous. You know, it was like gross and grotesque, and he had fangs, and he had a drooping jowls, and yeah. I mean, the Twi'lek that you're talking about looked like a dude in a Twi'lek hat. Yeah, basically, it just wasn't very believable. Really quick, super chat. Thank you very much, John Papa Sergio. He says, "What the hell was up with the Boston Dynamic dog robots?" Yeah. So I didn't know about those Boston Dynamic dog robots until I saw something on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen those before." They put those directly in Star Wars. That was a little.
What are they?
So do you remember the scene in Mos Espa when they had the four-legged droids kind of walking through?
Oh yeah, yep.
Those are actual real-world robots made by Boston Dynamics.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, John.
I learned something new today.
Yeah, they shouldn't do stuff like that. I didn't care for it. I mean, obviously the first time I watched it, I didn't really realize, and then I saw something on YouTube and I was like, oh yeah, that's an actual robot. Are they going to put Asimo in there next? Asimo, you know, that droid thing that they built 20 years ago. But let's get into our number 4 picks. How about that?
Yeah.
Tony, what's your number 4 favorite addition to your collection?
You've got to let me have 2 entries here because I couldn't decide, and these are donations to the channel. So the first of which...
bastard. You're such a picky bastard. You can't follow the rules. We said 5.
Oh, I know, but let me have 6.
Before you show the tank, speaking of rules, we've limited ourselves to 1 Action Force figure each.
I could put Action Force figures on this list? Shit.
I mean, you can, if they're in your top 5.
It's too late now.
You got to read the group text, man.
How fucking busy am I, man?
I don't know.
Yeah,
doing something over there.
No one wanted to see us do a countdown of Condor, Sergeant Slaughter, Kerak, Bone Collector, and Swarm, and leave Steel Brigade off because we don't like it. So, no. So this was donated to the channel from a number of people got together. Apologies if I forget anyone, but Keith Knight, Jody, Michael Schaefer, Scuba Pete, all these guys, George Aitken, all kind of banded together and got me an actual Action Force International Heroes version of the Mauler. The figure was in fairly poor condition, broken thumb. So this really minty figure actually came from Michael French at Retroblasting. I do need a mic, which I'll probably never get beyond a repro one, and a weapon. But the actual vehicle is complete. So I love this, but I also love this that I got from Keith Knight. And it is my boxed Corgi gold Mazda pickup truck with the Incredible Hulk. I absolutely adore this. I had this when I was a kid. And what Keith actually did, I had the one with the red cage. There was also a rarer version with a grey cage on the back, and he sent me that in loose mint condition.
Awesome.
So thank you very much, Keith.
I'm pretty sure I have an extra heavy metal rifle for you.
You do?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I have one.
I'll give you a reach around at Joe Fest.
Well, I was expecting that anyway, so you better bump that shit up, buddy.
I'll bring the peanut butter.
Yeah, I need to ask Grace what she thinks about us getting rooms, with the adjoining door.
That's a terrible idea.
Tony, I had that Hulk car there, the one with the red cage. Until I saw,
I thought this was not sold in the States. This is Corgi Toys.
I had something just like it then, but the cage was all ripped up and there was no Hulk in it.
Yeah, so the cage comes ripped up so you can get the Hulk figure out of it. But yeah, I had this as a kid, man, and I loved this. And I've mentioned it in several videos, and then Keith Knight turns around, he sends me the rare version and a mint box version. It's just a stunning piece. I love the art, like look at that classic art on the back.
They sold Corgi in the States though. Like I have a Corgi Batmobile. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, they had it here.
Yeah, I've got to go to my mom's house because I know she's probably got that in a box in her attic somewhere.
Yep.
Bobby, what's your number 4?
What is my number 4?
You were supposed to decide.
I was. Okay. I'm going to shock everyone with my number 4.
Oh, wow.
Classified Zartan. Listen, I've said it that Zartan is the best figure that they've done. Besides Major Blood, the best classified figure they've done. And the single release version is really, really good. And then when they did this, I'm like, awesome. Like, I wasn't sure if they were going to do color change because I know like when I was at Hasbro, like to do color change was really expensive. So I would always like when I was on Hero Mashers, I tried to do really like fun kid stuff because I was a kid line. So like I did a vac metallized arm on Winter Soldier, which was probably one of the last vac metallized things they ever did there. And then it's like I wanted to do color change and glow in the dark, and they were like, it's too expensive. So, you know, when they released Zartan and you didn't have color change, I was like, well, I understand that. And I saw like people being upset about it, but it was like, to me, I understood it. But then to surprise us, they like did it. And I was like, whoa. And then they came out the set with all the heads, and it's just a cool set, man. They nailed it with this one. So I love this figure.
Yeah, I didn't pick that one up.
Stand?
It does not come with a figure stand. However, he fits on an Action Force stand.
Hey, there you go. That might have been the only 2021 G.I. Joe release I didn't get. I mean, I actually got one, but I traded it to White Mike for the cartoon Venom. I was good with the original release, but it's a great figure.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's really good.
All right. So my number 4 is from one of my favorite toy lines to collect. It's from Mezco, and it is from their Rumble Society, their Hoods collection, and that is the Mezco Vapor. This is like a throwback to their old Hoods line from the early 2000s. He's like a New York-style graffiti artist. He comes with tons of accessories, spray paint cans. He has a backpack with a working zipper. You can see the paint pens there in his backpack. Tons of storage. It's just really cool. I've always been into that whole old school New York hip hop culture, and so when I saw they were doing this figure, I was on it immediately. The soft goods are great. The tailoring on these soft goods are second to none. It's a great figure. That's the Hoods Mezco Vapor, or Mezco Hoods Vapor. Graffiti artist. So that's my number 4. One of my favorite of all time.
I'm not poking fun here, but
that's okay.
That looks like a terrific figure, but I'm trying to get my head around where does that fit in your collection?
With all my other Mezco Rumble Society stuff behind me here.
So a whole heap of them.
Yeah, they have all their own IPs that they do. In fact, that's mostly what they do. They have their Gomez stuff, their roaches. I took their newest Gomez body, and I made a 3POA t-shirt to put on him, and then I put a skull head on him. I thought that looked kind of cool.
How do you make those t-shirts?
I got heat transfer paper. They sell it at the office supply store. And then I just shrunk the logo, printed it out, ironed it on.
Can you make me a Analog Toys t-shirt for Desert Rat?
Maybe I already have.
I'm making a bunch of action force shirts for my figures.
Okay.
Are you saying I can't have one figure with an analog toy shirt on it? That's just mean.
Well, that's Desert Rat in his off time, on sabbatical, on holiday.
Is that like breaking that's like breaking the fourth wall, though? Desert Rat with an analog toy shirt. So it's like Desert Rat is acknowledging the existence of analog toys, which is also acknowledging the existence of Tony Roberts, who he actually is. Fourth wall, breaking fourth wall.
So without giving too much away, Tony, you're going to get something in the box I'm sending you when the shipping lanes open back up. And you don't have to call him Desert Rat, but this will all be solved.
Okay.
Okay. Little spoiler alert there. So back to the Book of Boba Fett. I think everyone kind of knows how we feel about it. I just want to say that monster at the end, that was Goro.
It was Goro.
That was Goro.
It was Goro or the Kraken. It was
or
like
the Kraken, yeah. The monster with 4 arms came out of the sand. He choked it out. They cut its head off.
Yeah. But I mean, that's his name, or is that from another franchise?
No, they didn't say its name. Or at least I don't know.
Goro is the 4-armed, half human, half dragon from Mortal Kombat.
Ah, okay, yeah. No, that was very Clash of the Titans.
No, yeah, that's also the Kraken. Like that's
yeah, and not the what's that Sam guys? Not the new Clash of the Titans. That was old Clash of the Titans.
Look at Brian Rowland's comment. Frank Gore Half-Slap 2.0. That was awesome. Nicely done, Brian.
Shout out to Brian.
I was thinking at the time, I was like, it's not as big as a Rancor. They might do just a deluxe Black Series version retail of that.
I'd buy it.
Look, my problem is, okay, when he has the fight with the Foot Clan who've stolen the Swarm Riot shields, he gets poked a couple of times with a vibro blade, and then he's laying on the floor, and they've like, get me back to the healing chamber, like he's in shit state. And then you have a flashback to where he's like a deep fried fucking prune on the surface of Tatooine.
Yeah,
like he's malnourished, he's dehydrated, he's been chained to a wooden post next to an orange Rhodian for days, and yet he can jump on the back of this thing for his hero shot and strangle it.
I thought the same thing.
It doesn't marry up, and it's like these purple Nurple mighty specters with their shields fucked you up. And yet you can take down the Kraken.
Well, I mean, the Kraken was in the... Yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense. In the EU, if I remember right, Boba Fett had a lot of scarring in his lungs, so maybe he was just winded after that fight against the Foot Clan. He had a lot of scar because he inhaled... I think I'm remembering right. I think he inhaled like the digestive juices of the Sarlacc. Also, the Sarlacc would communicate with him telepathically in that book. It's a weird book.
But for those of us non-nerds who don't read those books, how are we supposed to know that watching Disney Plus? Like, how's my son supposed to know that?
Aren't. Absolutely, you aren't. No. Yeah, it's just kind of I think it's a victim of storytelling by committee, probably, which is the biggest problem probably with the prequels. I mean, the sequels, storytelling by committee. The prequels were all written by George Lucas. But like I said, my overall thoughts of the episode, it set up some cool stuff. I'm excited to see where it goes. I hope we see some of those bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back on the bridge of the Death Star. I hope we get, I hope Bosk shows up, or at least Forlum and Zuckuss.
Yeah.
Maybe IG-88. I mean, they've already got the puppet and the voice, right? From IG-11.
If Bosk shows up, Sal will lose his shit.
Yeah, he will.
He loves Bosk.
Yeah. We're going to have
so
to...
will Melinda. Although they haven't got Disney Plus, so...
Super chat. We got a super chat here from Bjorn Jorgensen. Thank you very much. He says, maybe Boba Fett had arthritis. Well, look, Tamara Morrison is about 60 years old. Boba Fett in this show should be about 40. So that's a thing, too. I mean, he looks a little... And then, of course, Bo-Katan, a Mandalorian, she's supposed to be pushing 60, but she looks like she's about 35 because Katie Sackhoff is not that old.
Yeah, but it's Star Wars, man. Yoda was what, 800?
900.
900 years old.
900 years old. You reach look as good. You will not.
Yeah.
Chewbacca's 300. He hasn't even got grey hair.
Yeah, but they're aliens.
I'm 44 and I haven't got hair.
I'm 40. I have hair.
You have fabulous hair, Ryan.
Moving on.
You should make your own hairspray commercials.
I have to get some hairspray. So I don't know. Where do you guys want to see this go? Do you want to see him go through this Walter White journey? Just go become more evil? They're not going to do that, right? It's like Disney Plus.
Yeah. I would like to see that just because, like I said, we have the Mandalorian. Like he's a hero. I don't need another hero show. I would really like to see a bad Boba Fett. I'd like to see him kind of go dark. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the first episode was slow. Also it's like, we're as fans, we can kind of pick things apart forever. Like the first thing I noticed, like he's in the back of the tank in Jabba's palace and there's nobody around. So it's just what's her name. She's there. And I'm like, wait a second. If someone found out that Bib Fortuna got killed and Boba Fett was back and he had no one protecting Jabba's palace, don't you think some other mob would be there trying to take it over? Like if the Foot Clan had 6 or 7 dudes, they could have taken that place over real quick. With him in the back to tank, all they had to do was kill her. So that was like the fact that he kind of just shows up and he really doesn't have a big presence, yet all of a sudden he wants to be this leader, like this ruler. It was kind of like, all right, well, like I'm open to seeing where it goes. I think it's going to be good. I'd like to see, some bounty hunters. There's definitely going to be some fan servicing just because, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are all about that. I would just like to see a different vibe than Mandalorian.
Yeah. A different vibe than, good guy, hero Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I would like to see an honorable criminal.
I mean, for me, it's like, as much as I like Terminator 2, I prefer the Terminator character in the first film.
Yeah.
When they turned him into the good guy.
Yep. Yeah.
It went from edgy sci-fi to a PG action film.
If Boba Fett killed the Major Domo, it would have been a lot cooler. Like that was a perfect chance for him to be like, wait, you want money from me? And if he just shot him, like it would have been awesome. I would have been like, now we're talking.
Or maybe he had some kind of character growth we haven't seen yet while living with the Tusken Raiders. Maybe they're gonna work that in. That
was the other thing I thought. I'm like, you know what? They're gonna it's all gonna make sense because of his redemption with the Tusken Raiders. Because look, when we saw him, he had a black cloak, he had a gaffy stick. So it's like they're gonna we're gonna see a few episodes of them bringing him into their clan and being a part of it, and that's where you're gonna kind of see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quick pee break, guys, for me.
Okay. It's going to be 6 episodes, I think.
That's kind it?
Yeah. Kind of a short season. The first one was only 35.
what's the next thing we get after Book of Boba Fett?
I think it's Obi-Wan.
Is it Obi-Wan? Which they haven't announced when that's happening, right?
I thought it was Obi-Wan and then the Rogue One guy, Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor.
And then
we're not going to get Mandalorian for a while, right?
Yeah, Mando season 3 is at the end of this year.
Wow.
So I think we got Obi-Wan, Cassian, Bad Batch season 2, and then Mando season 3. And then
when is Star Wars Celebration?
I should know. I had tickets until I refunded them.
Because it's not May the 4th, right? Star Wars Celebration is a different date than May the 4th, right?
No, it coincides with another holiday because a lot of people were upset when they rescheduled it for some other. Maybe it was Memorial Day. Maybe someone in the chat will tell us.
Because I was watching one video about how they were saying that there's going to be a lot of, probably going to see the first trailer for Obi-Wan for Star Wars Celebration. I'm like, well, when is that? Is that in the beginning of this year, or is it in the spring? Is it summer?
Yeah.
Because 6 episodes going to go real quick, and then what? We're not going to have anything. Like that's going to suck.
They might jump it back into a.
I think at this point, Star Wars Celebration is quite the oxymoron because there's not much to celebrate.
Hey, look, I'm holding out hope because I know that Favreau and Filoni are still steering the ship for Book of Boba Fett. We'll see where it goes after that. But
I just heard that they fired Kathleen Kennedy from the New Republic show. So they kind of did what they did with Mandalorian, where they took her off and she has no creative ability, which is interesting that they upped her contract and now they're just taking projects away from her. I'm like, yo, just fire her, man. Pay her like $20 million and just fire her. If you fired her, do you realize the collective celebration that Star Wars fans would have? Yeah. It would be like, I know, Tony, you don't like the Snyder Cut, but it's like when the Snyder Cut got announced, it was like, yo, people were like, finally, you listened, and that was that. It's like, listen, if they did that with Kathleen Kennedy, man, Star Wars fans would be so happy. It would do so much for Disney and Lucasfilm if they fired her, which, they're probably not, but...
No.
Even though I don't like the Snyder Cut, it is way better than Joss Whedon's version.
You bet your ass.
I'll give you that. It's way better than that.
They won't fire Kathleen Kennedy because of the optics. She'll eventually leave on her own when she's ready.
Yeah.
Would she hurry up and get ready then?
I think she's got too much pride to leave. I think if she left, she would look at it as like a defeat. So she'll ride it out no matter how much they take from her.
Yeah.
She just seems like that much of an asshole to do that.
I don't care if she's like the CEO of Lucasfilm or whatever her position is. I just don't want her anywhere near anything creative.
Yeah.
Maybe she can
Which
just
I
make
think
the money
they realize that. They're like, you know what, just be the puppet and let Favreau and Filoni handle this shit.
Yeah. Before we get into our top 3 of 2021, let's get some super chats in. John Papa Sergio, thank you, man, once again. He says, I'm betting a bounty is put on Boba, and Mandalorian answers it, killing him and taking the Slave One since the Razor Crest is gone. That's actually a pretty good theory.
Interesting.
But
no.
I don't know if they'll kill off Boba Fett. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
They won't kill off Boba Fett, and Boba Fett started helping him in The Mandalorian Season 2.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Din Djarin in Boba Fett. At least one episode.
Yeah. I think they'll cross paths at least once.
Yeah.
And it probably, like John says, it'll probably be he's hunting a bounty or something maybe. But yeah, that's a good theory. I don't think they'll kill Boba Fett though.
Yeah.
Scott Hughes, hey man, thank you very much. He says we need Godfather Part 2 in the Star Wars universe. That's a good point. This felt a little Godfather-y almost. Also, why was there a stormtrooper in the Sarlacc? The Empire wasn't on Tatooine. They were. That could have been like a sand trooper. He was in there for a while.
One of the videos I watched said because he was corroding, which means he had been in there for a while, that he might have been one of the the sand troopers that was there looking for R2 and 3PO when they crashed down on Tatooine.
Yeah. That he was in there for a long time because his armor was already melting. And what 3PO said, you digest for 1,000 years in there. So
yeah.
Thank you, Scott. I'm still using that knife. Master Son 42, thank you very much. He says, if Boba travels to Mandalore for any reason and we discover how we got his armor, I will lose it. Hey guys, glad to see you all. Tony, wash your hands. That was a quick break.
It's his dad's armor. That's Jango Fett's armor. He even says that. He said
right,
that
yeah.
in the Mandalorian.
He said that in Mando, but it's not accurate to Jango's armor.
The helmet is.
Maybe the helmet, but the chest and stuff certainly isn't. Unless it was like damaged so bad that he had it like reshaped or something.
Mm.
And that's all of our super
Alex,
chats. Okay.
it was the Stormtrooper riding the Jew back in the special edition.
There we go.
I've heard a couple of people here mention Dengar as one of the characters, and I was just thinking, with the COVID-induced toilet paper shortage, they can't make his costume. There's not enough. Or maybe that's why the world has run out of toilet paper, because Lucasfilm are making an army of Dengars. Yeah.
I would love it if they gave him Simon Pegg's voice like they did in Clone Wars. Okay, so
they probably would.
Yeah, and that guy used to crap all over Star Wars, and then his buddy JJ got the gig, and he stopped. All right, so let's get into our top three. We got about 20 or so minutes left. Tony, what's your number 3 favorite addition to the collection of 2021?
This is a really, really unusual piece. I didn't know of this before, but when Bobby turned me into Desert Rat, he actually did something psychological to me where I just became obsessed with having the biggest and best Desert Rat collection in the world. So when I discovered that there is an Action Man bubble bath set with Desert Rat on the packaging, I just had to get it. And this thing, I bought this from eBay. It literally turned up 2 days before this stream, 3 days ago. It's in beautiful condition. There will be some diehard collectors out there who say that this is not 100% original if the bubble bath is no longer in there. But I actually asked the guy to pour it out before he shipped it because A, it would be a lot lighter. But B, I was like, if it leaks in transit, I will be devastated. So just pour it out and send it without the bubble bath. But you see on the back, there's a beautiful artwork there of Desert Rat, which I believe has been drawn by Dave Barnacle because he did all this kind of Action Man style packaging. I've got some original art prints from Dave Barnacle and some autographs from him.
Is that a Thompson? Does he have a Thompson?
Yeah, the original Desert Rat carries a Thompson.
Yeah, but the figure carries an M60, doesn't he?
In Action Force, in Action Man.
In Action Man, he had the Thompson, right? Yeah.
He's gonna go
I've got
get
one
it.
right here. I'll show you.
Cool. Okay. There we go.
Here we go.
Cool. You got to grow that beard out now.
Hey, you could put it on any Action Man figure you wanted. He doesn't have to be bearded.
Ah, cool. Wait, the beard is removable?
No, you got Action Man figures with or without beards, and
okay.
Action Men weren't specific characters. You know, you got an Action Man figure and you just dressed him in whatever uniform you had that you wanted to dress him in.
Oh, like a Barbie. Okay.
How dare you?
Now you're both going to punch me in the face at Joe Fest.
No, I'm not. I'm going to use that dildo you showed at the start of the show.
Oh, God.
My heat gun?
Mate, you'll regret the fact that that's a heat gun, because after I stick it where I'm going to stick it and turn it on, it's going to be your internals will be like being inside a Sarlacc pit.
Wow!
It'll melt stormtroopers.
Wow. Man, this is a
Bobby. I hope your kids aren't watching this show.
This is a very hostile podcast.
My kids are sleeping, dude. My kids have been sleeping for an hour and 20 minutes.
Bobby, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a Mezco. So Ryan has gotten me into Mezcos, and I can't get enough of them. No, don't apologize. I'm not sorry, not sorry. I missed out on this figure pre-ordering it, and then saw how amazing it was and had to go and buy one. And it is the Gotham by Gaslight Joker.
Nice.
This dude.
Beautiful figure.
Listen, I cannot get enough of Mezco figures. Everything from like the wear on his boots to the wear on his pants and his jacket, and then his briefcase with the knife set and the blood on his hands. Like, dude, Mezco is crushing it. I know, like, Mezco, I know a lot of people might not consider them like Action Force or action figures or traditional toys because they're soft goods and they're higher end, but listen,
they're 6-inch
man.
Barbies. They're 6-inch Barbies, right?
They are absolutely killing it. And I remember when Black Series was first kind of being concepted, I was there and they were talking about what would come with Black Series figures, and they wanted to make Black Series like ultra premium. Like, I remember seeing the original concept model for the Luke and the X-Wing. He had a die-cast blaster and he had a die-cast lightsaber hilt. And like that stuff, like that's what they wanted the line to be. And it, like, they didn't cost out because retail always wants shit cheaper. So they wanted a $20 figure. So they cost reduced it down. But their original goal was premium. And I remember some of the sculpting guys had some Mezcos, early Mezcos. And this was, 2014, 2015. And Mezco wasn't really great back then. And they turned it around so fast. And they're such a high quality item now that, listen, man, it would be a dream come true if they contact me and was like, listen, we want to do Action Force figures. I would be blown away. Like, I love Mezco stuff so much. And yeah, it's expensive, but if you get it when they pre-order it, the sting isn't so bad. Like, I paid probably 20 to 30% more for this figure because I missed the pre-order. And Ryan sent it to me and he goes, you should order this figure. And I didn't. And from now on, every time Ryan tells me I should pre-order a Mezco, I'm going to pre-order it no matter what. So that figure is awesome. What they come with is amazing. It's not like you're just getting a figure. You're getting a figure, a ton of hands, a ton of accessories, kind of some display pieces. The worst part about Mezco is having so many options to display it. I'm one of those guys that I like to display something and just leave it alone. The Joker, he comes with the trench coat, or he comes with the apron, and it's like, shoot, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to display him. So, that's the rough part. But other than that, man, Mezco is killing it.
Have you got the Batman, the Gaslight Batman as well?
I don't. I'm not a big fan of that design, but I really love this Joker. I have this figure was a toss-up between the Shadow edition Batman, which is a really hard one to get. I got that one and I paid a lot for it. But man, that figure's cool. But this Joker was just a little better. I'm a big Jack the Ripper fan. Like, I like, like serial killer crime documentary. So if there's ever one on Jack the Ripper, I always watch it. From Hell is really good. So it's like the fact that they modeled Joker off of Jack the Ripper, like, it was right up my alley. So, you're
a big fan of Jack the Ripper?
I just like the lore of serial killer lore and documentaries. I know, like, they say, like, oh, people that like crime documentaries have like a few screws loose, but like, me and Alex, man, like Alex, he's always telling me about like crime documentaries. I can't get enough of crime documentaries. Even like when shows come out, True Detective season 1 is probably one of the greatest like shows like ever. I just like that shit. It's interesting, you know.
That's why I was really
weird, but...
No, it's not. That's why I was really drawn to that Joker, because same thing, the whole Jack the Ripper thing. I did this big book report in high school on him and the mystery behind it, and it's grotesque for sure, but it's fascinating. Let's do some super chats.
So I think that the fascinating part is also why I like the Zodiac killers, because they were never caught. So like that's the really interesting part. It's like, wait a minute, how did they have so many killings that they never got caught? They left so much evidence behind. You know, that's the interesting fascination about it.
Yeah, Paltrex, just real quick. He says, how are Mezco next to Soap Studios? Mezcos are much higher quality, in my opinion. I don't think the tailoring on Soap Studios is nearly as good. Okay, so my number 3 is the giant action figure I always wanted. It was not cheap. It has light-up features.
Ooh, I know what this is going to be.
It is not the Sentinel. It is the Lewin Atlas 1/12 scale.
It's like a child.
It is, yeah. His eyes light up. Let me find the button. I thought I put batteries in there. There we go. Check that out. Eyes light up, and those are bright, man. He's got like lights everywhere. He's got lights in his feet. He's got lights. I don't remember all the switches are, but this is fully transformable, fully posable. It was the same price as the Sentinel, and every joint in this thing is ratcheted. Everything. So, whatever Chinese bootlegging company made this did better than Hasbro at a. Oh, by the way, this is 28 inches tall. The Sentinel is 26 and a quarter, I think. Every finger articulated. I don't have his gun here with me, but that lights up. The Optimus Prime blaster lights up. It's just phenomenal. I had him up on top of my Detolfs before I set up my Action Force display. And I had him in truck mode with Snake Eyes hanging off the side, holding his Uzi, and it looked awesome, man. It was so cool. He was like hanging off the driver's side door, hanging onto the side view mirror that pops out right there. It was cool.
So he lost his space in the collection because of Action Force.
I
was going to ask you if this is what your number 3 pick. Does it bother you that Action Force makes him look like a pussy?
Not at all. Not at all, man. This is my number 3 pick. It's just an awesome piece, and he actually costs less than the MP44, I think, which is probably like a 1/18 scale Optimus Prime, but that one has the trailer. A trailer for this thing would be massive.
There's a few people in the chat asking Ryan what company makes it.
This is Lewin, Lewin, Atlas, OP, Lewin Resources, Atlas, OP, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's third party or knockoff. I think it's actually an upscaled MP10, Masterpiece 10. I think.
He doesn't transform, right?
He's fully transformable.
Really?
I can put him in. Yeah, he is you transform him, and he's a 112, 110 scale Peterbilt.
Wow.
Just like the cartoon, yeah.
I might have to get one.
Kenmore? No, Optimus is a Peterbilt.
He's a Peterbilt, yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to get one. I wanted to get I think it's, I forget who makes it, the Gentle Giant or the Iron Giant, the big one. But I might have to get that instead.
Isn't the Iron Giant Mondo?
Mondo, yeah, that's right.
I have the Mondo Iron Giant. It's great.
Is it really good?
Yeah, it's really good. It was Lewin 01 Atlas Sunny Fresh. Okay. this one is the re-release that doesn't have all the chrome, which I actually prefer. I thought the first release was like the chrome was overdone. Like Optimus doesn't need a chromed out grill. But yeah, so that's my number 3. It's awesome. So let's get to some super chats. We got a couple here.
Yeah.
Wolfie762, thank you, man. He says, Tony, is the fragrance of that bubble bath the same as what my uniforms I wore over there smell like? Kind of a burning oil smell.
I know what you mean about that burning oil smell, but I can honestly, I haven't wanted to take this out of the package. So the actual bottle itself, back in the late 70s in Action Man, they did do a whole series of like role play toys for children, Action Man themed. I've got a few of them. They had like a plastic version of like the metal mess kit that would fold out and you could cook your meal on a burner. I've got one of those. I've got a small Action Man red beret with the badge on it and stuff. So this is actually done like a plastic role play water bottle for kids with Action Man logo kind of embossed into the middle of it. But yeah, I don't know what it smells like. I haven't opened it. This box is beautiful.
That's awesome.
This is going to be one of my favorite Desert Rat pieces.
But by this point in time, that bubble bath would be like the xenomorph blood. It would like melt through your floor, your skin. And Jim Largo, thank you very much. He says, "All hail 3POA." Love it.
Thank you, Jim.
Enjoying starting the year with y'all. Bobby, will we learn anything more about the Crimson Shadows in 2022?
Yes.
In comic book form?
Yes. Issue 6, the Tim Kennedy issue, gives a bunch of backstory on Crimson Shadow. And Crimson Shadow plays a decent part in the movie. And there's going to be definitely more Crimson Shadow coming.
What
aside.
people want to know, Bobby, is am I going to play a decent part in the movie? Or are you actually going to get a real actor?
You're not. You're in the second movie. You're not in the first movie.
I'm aware. I'm just ripping the piss.
Quick aside, since you brought up Tim Kennedy, if the listeners haven't seen it, go to the Valaverse channel after this stream and watch the latest video of Bobby and Tim Kennedy talking about the Duster action figure. It is awesome.
I've been waiting so long to show that because we filmed that in June. I went down there, and it's like I showed the teaser at Joe Fest that we put together, but I knew like we had this great video of me and him, like a one-on-one, that shows like how cool Tim is and how like down to earth and how excited he was for this figure. So it was, I knew I was like, man, I can't wait to get this out so I can like, show that video. So it's exciting to like put that out there, and it's been getting a lot of views and people are really digging it. So it's fun. We have a lot of other stuff that we filmed too, that Tim's going to be sharing on his social media. So that's really exciting, coming, but it's cool, man. It's cool to like think back on that and like, whoa, I was hanging out with Tim Kennedy. And the crazy thing is that I never met him up until that day. And like, I got there to that gym and like, we started filming within like 20 minutes. So it was like, I was like, still kind of like starstruck a bit, me being a huge UFC fan and being a Tim Kennedy fan. And then like,
it comes across in the video, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Huh?
It comes across in the video, but that makes it all the better. Man, I've watched that like 5 times. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Just his energy and your energy and the editing and it was really good.
Remember when he's talking about the knife on his vest and then he hits me in the chest?
Yeah.
He hit me and I was like, damn. And it's like he's used to just hitting big guys. Like all his friends, the guys he trains with, they're all big guys. So it's like, here, I come in there, and it's like he hit me, and I think he hit me like twice, and I was like, wow, I just got hit by Tim Kennedy. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. If you want to see Bobby suppressing his like this fanboy reaction, I mean, it's really like, you know, like a 12-year-old kid like meeting his hero. It'd be like me at 12 meeting Mark Hamill. That was what this video was like, and it was awesome, man. It was so cool to see that. If you don't like Tim Kennedy after that video, I can't help you, because that guy is awesome, dude. I love that dude, man.
Look, if you as much as I'd love to take the piss, as you know I do, I wouldn't say what I was seeing on Bobby's face was fanboying. It was, I don't want to read fucking too much into this, but like I'm seeing Bobby's face, and it's the combination of, yes, meeting a veteran who is also a famous sporting athlete who he's been a fan of for a long time, combined with the fact that he's showing him the figure. The look on Bobby's face to me just smacked of, I've been there before. You're standing there and you're like, is this actually fucking happening right now?
Yeah.
Is this happening right now? And that just made that video all the more watchable, which is why even Grace has watched it and she's buzzing. Yeah, great video. I shared that on. I share a lot of stuff on the Analog Toys Facebook page. I don't share a lot of stuff on my personal page. I barely share anything about Analog Toys on the personal page. I shared that video on my personal page. I was like, man, you guys have got to go and see this. So.
Thanks, yeah, man. Bobby, you did hold it together really well. Like it's just a great video.
I had my best friend with me. He took the trip with me down there, and I told him, I said, just take pictures and film. Tim had his filming that. My buddy was just kind of like, and we're and his guy was getting the camera set up, and we were just kind of standing around admiring this gym. And all of a sudden, Tim like rips off his shirt and then puts an Action Force shirt on. And I was like, I said to my friend, I was like, dude, he's got an Action Force shirt on. Like, like it was just like a total like fanboy moment. Yeah, dude, you brought it for him. Like,
that's awesome.
It was just one of those things. We were there, through film, and we like the first day. And
Bobby, you're roboting a little bit.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
it was getting kind of hard to hear what you were saying.
Hold on, let me make sure I'm good.
Which is a real shame.
Okay, you're back. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miss.
Oh,
would you?
Now it's
miss.
He cut out again.
Oh shit.
We heard that.
Okay.
Well, hey,
am I good now? Am I good now? No. Shit.
Almost.
No, yeah, it's coming back.
Hold on.
No, I think you're good. He says,
yeah.
As we completely lose him.
Well,
hold on.
Real quick. No, hold on, real quick. I'm just going to read the super chat. Andrew Sabina says, Ryan, is that Optimus still available? And any tips on what to tell the missus when it arrives? It's on showzstore.com, and I put the link in the chat. I think it's still available, but that's where I got it, showzstore.com.
And we've got here a world made of cardboard. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, I thought Tony was going to say he took a long hot bath in his desert rat bubble bath. I shower. I have a bath in the house, which I don't think I've ever used. I've lived in this house for 3.5 years. I don't think I've ever had a bath. Sorry, Bobby. Tim Kennedy. He's wearing an Action Force shirt. You're erect. Go on.
Yeah. No, I said to my friend, I was like, dude, he's wearing an Action Force shirt. And my buddy's like, yeah, you brought it for him. But it was still like one of those like fanboy moments, like just seeing him like put on an Action Force shirt. And then like we were there for like 3 days filming. And, after we filmed at the gym, he's like, all right, come back to my house, you know, and I'm like, well, we're going to like Tim Kennedy's house. And then we're out in the parking lot and he's like, he goes, what's your number? I'll text you the address. And I'm like, Tim Kennedy's like going to text me. Like, you know, it was like just stupid fanboy moments like that. And then the next day, like,
his house has a parking lot.
Huh?
His house has a parking lot.
No, we're out after we left the gym. We were out in the parking lot, and he was like telling me the address of his house, and he's like, "I'll just text it to you." And then,
okay, now I feel like a fucking idiot.
But his house.
You were talking about his house, and then you said you're out in the parking lot.
I know. I kind of like went all over the place. His house is gorgeous in Texas. It's awesome. And then the next day, we go early in the morning to like start filming at the range, but we had to go and meet him at his house first, and then we're going to follow him to the range. And if you guys have seen his Instagram, he's a big muscular dude, so he doesn't really give a shit about what he looks like. He wears like short shorts, like really like short shorts. And we got there at like, I don't know, 9 a.m. and he answers the door and he's got no shirt on and like short shorts. And I'm just like, Jesus. He goes, hey, you guys want some coffee? And I'm like, okay. Like, you know, just like, it was funny. We're like in his house and it's like, I see like his Instagram videos. I'm like, I've been in that room. You know, he's got thousands and thousands of boxes of ammo like all over the place. I'm like, this is fucking cool.
I like his style.
It was a really, really cool trip. I loved like every second of it.
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. Okay, we're going a little over time, but we're going to get through our last two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to say anything more about the Book of Boba Fett, other than that.
Yeah, no,
I hope it goes somewhere interesting. It does have the potential, but I was, I wouldn't say disappointed with the first episode, but it weren't great.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it a chance, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving it a chance. Boba Fett's one of my favorite characters of Star Wars. And like I said, didn't dislike it. It was just like vanilla ice cream. And that was right after the banana split of the season finale of Mando season 2. So, but yeah, I think it'll pick up. So let's get into our number 2 addition to our collection of 2021. And Tony, we'll start with you again, man. What is it?
So this is another donation, or this was a gift. I was saying this is not a donation. This was a gift that I received this year from one of my dearest friends, Michael French. You might have heard of him. He's got this awesome YouTube channel called Retro Blasting. And I was absolutely floored when he sent me this. He sent me a near mint and complete. Hold on a second. Marion Ravenwood from the vintage Kenner Indiana Jones line, which completes my collection. I did used to have this figure. I traded it with someone for a removable cowl Mego Batman. I've always regretted it, but the one that I had was not complete. It didn't have the unique figure stand because her feet are so small she can't stand up without the figure stand. And Michael sent me this insanely beautiful and generous gift, and it completed an entire collection for me. I've got all 3 of the vintage LJN figures from the Temple of Doom. I've got the whole collection of the Adventures of Indiana Jones from Kenner. Now that I have this piece, so you know, and the fact that it came from such an awesome guy and such a good friend, I'm excited. And speaking of Indiana Jones, I think the next video you're going to see from Retro Blasting, I'm appearing in, where he's talking about the Hasbro era of Indiana Jones toys. So
cool,
great piece. Very, very happy.
That's got to be a very cool feeling that a modern collector like me doesn't really experience very often. Like, I have the complete collection now. You know, I mean, like with Marvel Legends, there's always the next Marvel Legend. And when you complete a team, there's always like, oh, well, we got this new Jim Lee Wolverine that's even better, right? And so are you ever really complete as a modern collector?
We
But
see,
as a vintage
I
guy-
collect a lot of different stuff, and you know, so many of the collections I have are incomplete, and I'm trying to complete. But even when I complete a collection, I normally take on something else. But I know guys who take vintage Star Wars, for example, right? I know guys who only collect vintage Star Wars. When they complete a collection, then they start going, well, I want every different version of Luke Skywalker. I want the blonde hair. I want the orange hair. I want all the different country of origin stamps. And that kind of collecting to me I feel a little bit obsessive. I've never been a person who just wants to see Hong Kong, Taiwan, China on the back of somebody's leg, because you put them in the shelf, and unless you display them all like facing backwards so you can look at the coup, what's the point? But yeah, it is a very, very nice feeling completing certainly a collection like that was, you know, this limited run. It's a great toy line, that Kenner Indiana Jones line, and finally having a complete Marion Ravenwood that was gifted to me by a good friend. One of my highlights of 2021.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right, Bobby, you're up, man. Number 2.
My number 2 was a gift from Tony Roberts himself, and it is one of the prized things in my collection, and it is a hand-painted
I totally forgot about that.
Of a Q-Force Aqua Trooper. This was Tony. Who painted this?
Brian Turner painted
Brian
that.
Turner, one of the designers of the Vala toy.
That is it. So prior to being a designer, he was the display manager. So he would like set everything up for Toy Fair and stuff like that. But he started to move into design towards the late 70s. So what that is there, that's an original orange Frogman from the 1982 Action Force. And when they were developing the different color concepts for what Q-Force would look like in 1983, Brian took one of those orange Frogmen from the first line, and he's painted it all up. And you can clearly see that that's all hand painted. There's chips off the paint and everything. And I'm
very
pleased that you've got that, Bobby. That's awesome.
When you sent it to me, I was blown away. I looked at it for like an hour. I was like, this thing is awesome. To like, you know, it's like I have a lot of vintage G.I. Joe prototypes, but like to get something that was from across the pond, it's like, this is awesome, you know, and the journey this thing took to get to me, you know, and then it's like, you saw in my room tour, it's like over here is modern Action Force, over there on that wall is all vintage Action Force. So it's over there. So it's in this room. So I see it every day when I'm here. It's such a cool piece. It really is. I love it, man. I was so thankful that you sent it to me, man. You're awesome.
No, you're awesome. So are you, Ryan.
Stop it. Stop.
Can we get 3 rooms at Joe Fest with adjoining doors? and Ryan, make sure you bring that heat gun.
My God.
No, I actually don't know if I've told you this whole story about that piece, right? Brian Turner had I'm trying to think how this came about. Bob Breakin had seen one of my videos or live streams where I was actually talking about Kenner Ghostbusters figures. We are.
Thank you, Terry.
Ryan's got the hair and me and Bobby are the eye candy.
Hey.
What? Like
It's okay.
All right, so Ghostbusters.
You both got beards. You've got awesome. I've got nothing here. It is a 3-way man crush going on here. Occam's razor. No, so I'd mentioned something about some Kenner real Ghostbusters figure, right? figures, and that I was trying to build up this collection for a video. And Bob Breaking got in touch with me and said, if Razor Pants...
I should have got a different heat gun.
Yeah, you can actually get some that look like guns, and
this is karma for showing that heat gun in the beginning, motherfucker.
Yes, it is.
Take that.
Fine, I deserve it. I deserve it. All right.
Free pay Tim Kennedy versus Desert Rat. Unless the competition is a game of noughts and crosses, this will never ever happen, because Tim has dedicated his life to being Captain America. I served with pride and dignity for a number of years, and then I got out and I went, fuck this, I'm going to let myself go. Having said that, I went for a 5-kilometer run this morning because it is the new year. I have never made a New Year's resolution in my life. 2022 is the first time ever when I said that if I'm going to go to Joe Fest and represent this brand as Desert Rat, I don't want to look like Timur Morrison in the Book of Boba Fett. I will not be jacked like Tim Kennedy because I have never been jacked in my life, but I have been incredibly physically fit, and I've got a big beer gut to lose. So I went off on a big tangent there. Where did I start with that?
Something about Ghostbusters and Bob Reekin.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, because I've got to tell you this full story, right? Bob messages me and says, look, Brian's grandchildren have, grown up a little bit. They've kind of got out of toys. He's wants to sell their toys just to give them a little bit of like teenage pocket money. Bob's like, we wanted to offer it to you, but we kind of don't know what's there. And he sent me a photo of the box, and that I didn't see that in the photo. And it was, the Ghostbusters were a little bit beat up, but there were some Action Force figures in there. And I was like, well, what does he want? And he was like, look, if you offer them 20 quid each, so I think the 2 grandchildren, they'd be happy with that. And I was like, well, let's make it 30 quid each, because I'm talking incomplete 5 POA figures and whatnot. And then the stuff turns up, and in the bottom of the box, I'm like, this ain't no normal action figure. So I get back in touch with them and say, Bob, Ryan, this isn't a normal action figure. Did one of your grandkids paint this? And Brian was like, oh, no. And then he told me the story of it. I painted this when at Palatoy we were doing color concepts for the teams when they went from the 82 range to the new range. And I'm like, I can't give you £30 each to your grandchildren for this. And he's like, no, you do what you want with it. So this rare piece was rescued from a grandchild's toy bin.
Cool.
And now it is with the current owner of Action Force. And I think that is a tremendously happy story to close out 2021. It's 2022, cool, isn't it? Yeah.
It's always awesome when a collectible, has a awesome story behind it like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And the vintage stuff, it's like there's a lot of vintage stuff that has stories behind it, which is really cool.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan, I am really, really interested in your number 2, so I'll be listening, but pee break.
Okay. My number 2, and we limited ourselves to one Action Force figure, Valaverse Action Force figure, because I'll admit it, I'm probably a little biased, right? But I can't understate how just well made and awesome this figure is. My number 2 is Steel Brigade, and when I backed the Kickstarter and I first bought these figures, I was like, man, that Karak Carrick is so cool. Like, I think that's my favorite one. And I was so looking forward to getting Carrick. And Carrick's a great figure, no doubt. But as I was posing and playing with these Steel Brigades, I totally fell in love, man. It's just an awesome design, awesome concept. I love that they're like an elite squad, an elite team. Posability is great. I love that gold head. I actually got 2 of them. My second one is boxed up and it's on eBay right now. But this, I'm kidding.
Better get a good price for it.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. It's just an awesome figure, man. All the figures come with a gun cradling hand and the correctly articulated weapons holding hand. But it's just.
Hey, show me which way the mags are in the pouch.
Oh, I don't know. They're the way they were in the box. Is that the right way?
Oh. Did you even watch my video, bro?
I did. Yeah, I know. They'll give you upside down and backwards or something, right? So you don't have to change your grip on it while you're switching mags.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just flip that around. There we go. I'm flipping the other one around. But yeah, it's a great figure. And, I can't get, there we go. I got it out. Got these fat fingers. Is that better?
Yes,
okay.
That's better.
I got the thumbs up approval from Desert Rat. There we go. I got 5 of them so far, and I got 2 more coming. So I'm going to have my squad of 7. Awesome figure.
7.
Yeah.
It's a good squad.
I got 5 in the Kickstarter, and I ordered 2 more. And I think I have one on pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store. Hey, Bobby, when's Big Bad Toy Store shipping?
Let's see. I haven't gotten this question in about, 3 minutes.
Yeah, he doesn't know when Big Bad Toy Store is shipping. They got their own container coming from China. So
they have their own carrier pick their container up from the factory, and that's it. It's out of my hands, man.
Yeah. So I'll probably end up with 8 of these.
Just know, from here on out, I will always get my product first. Always. No one will get Action Force product before me. So if you're going to pre-order, Big Bad is a great partner. I love working with them. I will always get the product first.
That's awesome. That's the way it should be. If only Hasbro Pulse got their product first. They're always dead last, man. So that's my number 2.
Can I just say to the people who are ranting and raving and getting all impatient, I understand you're passionate about the line. I'm not going to insult anybody here. I understand that you're passionate about the line, and that fear of missing out that we talk about with the Rancor and stuff like that. There is also an element of the fear of missing out of not being the first person to get it and everything. But at the same time, if you are in love with this line and you actually read the comics and you understand the kind of characters that these people are, people like Condor, do you think Condor, if he was pre-ordering Bone Collector and Carrick from Bobby, do you think Laird Barnes would be blowing up Bobby's inbox with wanting updates? He'd be like, bro, I was past Special Forces selection. I was interrogated for 36 hours. They kicked the shit out of me. They tortured me with white noise and stress positions, and I'm going to throw my toys out of the pram because I'm getting my action figures 2 weeks later than everybody else. Have some perspective is all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? To be fair to the customer, not all of them are watching this show, right?
Yeah.
And not all of them, maybe they're not on social media, they're not following Valaverse, this and that. But yeah, if you are watching this show and following Valaverse, you should probably know by now. And look, I've been ordering from Big Bad for years. They're always after Dorkside and Entertainment Earth and Big Bad is a great retailer, but I know they're not going to be shipping first.
And it's like there's perks that come with either or. It's like, listen, Big Bad has the $4 flat rate, the pile of loot. It's like, everyone's got a better standard, So, it's just a matter of, listen, if you're one of those people that you have to have it first, otherwise you're going to lose your mind, order from me, man. But listen, again, Big Bad is a great partner. And I don't want people going out, like when I get messages from people saying this, I get very mad about it. Do not tell me that you canceled your Big Bad order to order from me. I appreciate that you want to order directly from me, or if you think I'm making more money off of it, whatever. Do not. They are a great partner. And if you cancel your order, it affects my relationship with them. So please do not cancel your Big Bad order to order through me. You order with Big Bad. You made that order knowing that you were going to keep it. Do not cancel it. Please do not. It hurts our relationship with them. Just wait a little longer. It'll get there.
Yeah, I would say, there's lots of army builders in this line. Just order one more from Valaverse. You can get that one in your hand and then get the rest from Big Bad. If you can afford it. I'm not trying to tell people to spend money they don't have. Looks like Tony's taking a little break. So let's get into our number one, because we're like way over time by now.
Yeah.
But first, let's get to a super chat. Crash, thank you very much, man. He says, Happy New Year, 3POA. Looking forward to what's coming from Valaverse in 22, FYI. Speaking of aging well, Fennec is 1 month older than Jennifer Beals. And that can't be understated, because Ming-Na Wen looks incredibly young for her age. And yeah, she's another very attractive woman. Thank you very much, Crash. I'm sorry I called you trash that one time. It's a funny spelling of your name. And then we got one from, I got to find it here. Here we go. World Made of Cardboard. Thanks, man. He says, I was able to get my wife her Desert Rat figure. She wants to display it with her Doctor Who figures. Tony versus the Daleks. I've never seen Doctor Who. Did I pronounce that right? Okay, Daleks. Thank you. You guys are great. Oh, thank you, World Made of Cardboard.
Daleks.
I've never seen the show, and I hope Michael's not listening. He's going to get mad at me.
You won't get mad.
I know.
You don't know what you don't know.
That's not as bad.
Thank you, World Made of Cardboard. I appreciate the super chat, and I look forward to the challenge of fucking up some Daleks.
Yeah, thanks, bud. All right, so let's get into our number one. And Tony, back to you, man. What's your favorite pickup of 2021?
Well, this was a very, very difficult choice for me, because we had said originally that what is Alex Sanchez on about in the chat here?
I think he's sitting on his phone.
Has he got a cat? His cat walked over his laptop.
Oh, maybe his new daughter.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Pretty young to be playing with a phone, though. She's like 30 days old.
Yeah, this was a very, very difficult choice for me, because we had said in the group chat beforehand that we could only pick one Valaverse Action Force figure, because we didn't want our top 5 to just be, praising Bobby all the way along. So this was a very, very difficult choice. And I was going to subvert audience expectations, but then look what happened to The Last Jedi when you do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Seriously, do you remember that? I'm sure you do. There's a scene in Commando where Arnold Schwarzenegger is in a motel room and he's fighting Bill Duke. And he turns around and he says, I eat Green Berets for breakfast.
Yep.
Well, this guy eats Daleks for breakfast. And it is the prototype Condor.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
Nice.
Now, I know everyone was expecting me, because I do have him here. Everyone was expecting me to pull out the Desert Rat. But I want to tell you the reason why I chose Condor over the Desert Rat. Because it was, I don't want to be presumptuous, but kind of an inevitability that I would get like pre-production samples or something special for Desert Rat. I kind of, Bobby's the kind of guy who would make sure that happened. But this was totally unexpected. Condor is my favorite character in Action Force. Now that I have the figures in hand, I love the Swarm and the Wasp Raider. But this was just a mind-blowing experience to receive this, to have this in the collection. I've had to order some extra Condor figures because I want to display where I take all my stuff out of the boxes, Bobby, but I need one in box to go with the product. And the fact that it's the Paint Master from the first Kickstarter where all the colors are different, it's very, very special, man. And it's one of the reasons that I love you with all my heart.
Oh, shucks.
That's awesome. And it's in all black. So that's like the first design of
Yeah.
Condor?
Yeah, Condor was all black to kind of match the SAS squad.
Anti-terrorism.
Yeah.
Or actually, everyone refers to the SAS in their all-black gear as the anti-terrorism kind of, because that's when they did the Iranian embassy siege in May of 1980 in London and all of that kind of thing. It's actually not still today and wasn't back then. It's still not called the anti-terrorism team. It's the CRW, the Counter-Revolutionary Warfare Wing. A little bit of inside SAS knowledge for you there. The Counter-Revolutionary Warfare Wing is when they do all of their domestic counter-terrorism operations.
Just as a really quick aside, speaking of that first version of Condor, last year, probably spring of 2020, I bought some prints from you, Bobby, on Valaverse.com. And I think I bought 3, but you stuck a few extra in there. And I did not notice until a couple days ago that the Condor you stuck in there, which is the second one, you can't even see it. It's like right there.
Yep.
That Condor, that's the first version in black. Signed by Ron Rudat. I did not notice that until a few days ago. And so that was like, I texted Bobby immediately. I'm like, you sent me a signed copy of this Condor print by Ron
Have
Rudat.
you got any more?
I do. Yeah.
Are they available for sale on the website?
I got you covered.
There you go.
I took all the prints down from the site just because I wanted to just leave the comics and the figures up for now.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I got you covered.
That signed print would have been on my list, but I got it in 2020, so didn't make it. But we're way over time, so let's get into our number ones. Tony, when you're done,
I just did my number one. It's Bobby's turn.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, Bobby. What's your number?
You're right. Yeah.
Actually, can I go last? Ryan, you go. I need to take a wicked bad piss.
All right.
So you go. I'm gonna...
Okay.
The wicked pisser. I thought he was from Jersey, not Boston. Okay, so my number
he's
one.
He's pissing out Sarlacc stomach acid.
My number one is not only one of my favorite characters of all time from early childhood, but it's also an excellently designed and engineered figure. Some of my earliest memories, even before Star Wars, was watching Christopher Reeve as Superman. To this day, I get chills when I hear the theme song. And watching the movies, you think of Christopher Reeves, I'll start welling up a little bit, just he was like the childhood hero, like him and Luke Skywalker were like it for me as a kid. This is not a Christopher Reeve Superman, but it is a Superman, and it's the best Superman in my collection. I have quite a few. This is the Mafix Hush Superman, and it is just amazing. I have one nitpick. I mean, this is nearly a perfect figure for me, and I have no perfect figures in my collection. My one nitpick is that the yellows are a little dull. Maybe it's not coming across on camera very well, but they're
it is where I am. Yeah,
yeah. The yellows are a little muted, but just the poses that I can achieve with this figure and the look of it, it's totally a comic book accurate Superman. It's technically a Hush version of Superman from the Hush comic book storyline. I got this early in the year, and it's still my number one. I love this figure. It's great. If you didn't get it and you really want a really good Superman, this is the one to get. I apologize though. Secondary market prices are really, really high. I think they're over $200.
Can you show us the cape? Can you show me the cape?
The cape
it's got the yellow S on the cape and everything.
Yes. Yep. Soft goods with a wire so you can pose the cape.
Gorgeous.
It's an excellent figure. If you're a little patient, I'm sure Mafix will eventually put out another Superman, maybe not this exact version. I know they have a Dark Knight Returns Superman coming out relatively soon, but that's obviously Frank Miller styled, very large and buff. But this is when I got this was like my dream Superman figure. One of my favorite figures in my collection. So that's my number one for 2021. The Mafix Hush Superman.
I'm enjoying Drew G's comment here. He says, I'm loving the balls on Ryan for telling Bobby that Steel Brigade is in second place.
Listen, I don't want any. Listen, there's so many great figures and so many great purchases out there. Like, listen, I'm thankful that my stuff is even appearing on their list at all.
Listen, this is $100 figure. This is a $30 figure. Okay. And I never had a Steel Brigade as a kid. I didn't know what Steel Brigade is until the first Kickstarter of Action Force. So there's a lot of nostalgia, history with me and Superman. So he kind of had to take number one.
Don't make excuses, Ryan. You did start the show by showing your runner-up. That thing is so phallic.
It is so phallic, dude.
Stupid Amazon.
Well, here's a question for you, Bobby. And the reason I bring this up is I've wanted to ask you over time about will there ever be anything cloth goods in Valaverse Action Force?
The first cloth goods thing I want to do is a ghillie suit.
Oh, cool. That's a good idea.
Not a parachute?
No. I mean, it's hard to display a parachute. Like,
unless it was wired.
Yeah. Plus, it's like a parachute. You're just jumping on a plane and you're waiting until you hit the ground. Like, yeah, I guess there's images of guys shooting from their parachute, but it's not a very action kind of thing. A ghillie suit is so cool and snipers are just awesome. So that's definitely the first thing I want to do, soft goods related.
Snipers are awesome, but they also have the most boring job.
They do. Yeah.
All right, Bobby, what is your number one?
My number one is the completion of a vintage collection. So like Tony's Marion. This was something that I had been looking for quite a while, and I had seen it many times at a show and finally pulled the trigger on it. And it is the Clash of the Titans Kraken. So he does have his tail. I just don't have it on. This was done by Mattel.
Don't put it on, you'll break it.
Yeah, it is. I think I've said it before. It's one of the most fragile figures ever made. Like, I don't have the arms up. Like, you don't even want to look at this thing wrong. It is made out of very, very brittle ABS plastic, and finding one complete and unbroken is like finding the fucking Ark of the Covenant. Like, so even like when I bought this, I saw this at a show, I think twice before this, where a guy was selling it And this was like 3 or 4 years ago. He was selling it, and then I saw it the next year, and he was still selling it, but he upped the price. And I'm like, well, why would you up the price if you still didn't sell it yet? Then it's like COVID happened, and then this past year, I went to the show, and he had it. And I kind of went to the show knowing he was going to have it because he always had it. And I was like, he probably didn't sell it, and I need it. I have the whole entire Clash of the Titans set, and he was the last thing I needed. And I got there, and he had it. And I went back and forth with price, and I actually left the show, thought about it, stopped at the ATM, went back to the show, and then got him down on the price. But, like, he was putting it in the box, and I'm like, I'm just letting you know, if you break it putting it in the box, the deal is off. Because it's literally that fragile. Like, I don't even want to move his arms. He's displayed just like this. Not moving. No arms up, no nothing, because he has to stay just like this. And I love Clash of the Titans. It's one of my all-time like favorite vintage movies. And I got the big, one sheet poster out there in my office. Yeah. I just love it. And the Kraken was so iconic in that movie. And he's huge. Like seeing one in person, like he's huge. You see how big he is compared to the 3 3/4 inch figures. And
Clash of the Titans was the first movie I ever watched on home video. I came home from school one day and my older brother was buzzing because we had a Betamax video recorder. I didn't know what the hell video was, and my brother was like, well, you know how you watch a movie on TV and then it finishes and you can't watch it again? He's like, you can rewind it and watch it again and pause it. And I was like, oh. And my parents had rented Clash of the Titans, and I think Flash Gordon, the 1980 Flash Gordon movie. First thing I ever watched it at home on home video, and I watched it 5 times. Great film.
Yeah, it's a good one. So, yeah, this was like my holy grail for the time being. I started collecting vintage Star Wars again, so let's see what happens there. But this is the guy, man. This Kraken is like, it's so cool, Have you got all the figures to go with it? I think you have. I have everything. I have the whole run, and all unbroken. Like I have Calabas with the unbroken tail, which is very hard to get like that. Yeah. My Pegasus is unbroken and all white. So, getting this guy was the last piece of the puzzle, and he was half the puzzle. So it's like, I can't even look, I don't want to look at him. I just want to push him over there and just, even carrying him into this room, I was nervous. So, yeah.
Man, that's fragile.
Oh, dude. So brittle.
I've got a question here for you, Bobby, real quick.
Yep.
Jesse says, Bobby, is there any chance of getting Desert Rat figure in a dress uniform?
So go ahead.
So in the Special Forces, right, we don't wear dress uniform very often. We don't do parades. Remembrance Day for us, we put on a black suit and tie and we go to a church, and then we go to the pub and we get drunk. The only time we wear dress uniform is pretty much for funerals. And for that reason alone, I don't want that.
Makes sense.
And I have to approve of any design concepts for Desert Rat. So
the fuck you don't.
Hey.
The other reason why I wouldn't do dress uniforms is the same reason that you won't see a Dress Blues Gung Ho figure anymore. Is the Marines have that design. They have a copyright on that design, like that Dress Blues uniform. So if you wanted to do a Dress Blues Gung Ho, you'd have to pay a royalty to the U.S. Marines for that. So I
don't think the British military have the same issue, but
oh no, okay. I just assume just because the other branches of the military do.
So all right. Seriously, I remember reading that contract. I thought I had to approve of designs.
Yeah, that's all bullshit. That's all.
Right. So Desert Rat version 3 comes with a whiskey bottle and he's naked apart from a Borat mankini. Damn.
What I really want to do is I want to do the fishing Desert Rat is what I want to do.
Mm.
Yeah, that would be barefoot and everything.
Yep.
Wow. Cool. You want to do that?
No.
All right. Well, apologies for going way over time, but thank you for sticking around and checking out the whole show. Hope you enjoyed it. That's our top 5 of 2021 and our thoughts on Book of Boba Fett. We'll probably revisit Book of Boba Fett after the season finale in a couple months or so. Give our thoughts on the series.
We won't be reviewing it like every 2 weeks. We'll come back and we'll look at the series as a whole. Yeah,
right. Our next show in 2 weeks on January 15th, we're gonna have a guest, our second guest, and that's going to be Talker Art. He's a YouTube toy reviewer. He's a really funny guy. Check out his channel if you haven't. He reviews modern figures. So if you're like a vintage guy, it's still worth checking out because, like I said, he's really, really funny. But he's going to hang out with us on the 15th, hopefully.
Yeah, let me just say, if you thought that this episode was a little bit fruity, you wait till Talker Art comes on here.
Listen. You know who should definitely not be watching that episode is Dwight. Holy shit.
Yeah. He goes in on Dwight from Hasbro.
Who's next Dwight?
Dwight's my old boss at Hasbro. He's the one
designer.
He's the one that runs the Marvel Legends team. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw him in a pre-recorded live stream. With a sentinel there and everyone in the chat asking about the knees, and he wouldn't touch the knees.
Yeah. But hey, shout out to Ryan Ting on the Hasbro Marvel team. He got his Action Force figures in this week. He threw it up on Instagram.
I saw that.
So
maybe they'll learn something.
In all fairness, Brian Ting did not pay for those. Those were a gift from me. Brian has sent me a lot of stuff that I worked on after the fact. So I have to return the favor and send Ryan some Action Force stuff. But I also did it waiting to see if he'd actually post it. And he did. He did. So bravo to him.
I messaged him and I said, these figures are trash. They don't have ratcheted knees. And he responded back. He's like, well, I saved you the Photoshop. Because I photoshopped a picture of him from the live stream.
Yeah.
With Action Force figures all behind him. But so anyway, so that's our episode. Thanks for sticking around for the whole thing. And we'll see you on the 15th.
Yeah, we'll see you on the 15th, and I've got a little video to end the show. Happy New Year, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Action Force will return after these messages.
Action Force toys. The battle has just begun.
Driver, Action Force!
When the American government fractures and states become independent republics, the threat of new colonia spreads, and only Action Force can stop them. Fearless combat leader Condor teams up with the Steel Brigade and Special Advisor Sergeant Slaughter to battle it out against the terrifying Kerak, the evil Bone Collector, and a swarm army. In this war, there's no room for nerf, except nothing but the highest caliber. Action Force makes your other figures look like pussies. Use your action points to send away for an exclusive action figure, codenamed PTSD, complete with 1,000-yard stare action feature. You want figures with the biggest balls in the business? Then collect your own Action Force today. Figures each sold separately from Bellaverse.